Hej everybody, welcome back. For dere som er norsk, takk for sist, og velkommen tilbake. For those of you that are Norwegian, thank you for the last time and welcome back. Tonight, for starters, I'm on the road in Dallas, Texas. And it has been one of the craziest road trips of my life. I mean, a few days ago, not that many days ago, it was in the mid 80s. Today, it was 19 degrees when I went outside with a wind chill of 3 in Dallas. At home in Utah, it was like 45 degrees. I obviously can't work. So the last week, I've been doing a lot of just sitting and not doing much of anything, just sitting in the hotel. So I'm working on my Etsy shop a lot. By the way, my wife says I should mention it once in a while, so I'm gonna mention it. If you're interested, go check it out. If you're not, that's cool too. It's called Viking Heart Designs on Etsy. If you just type in vikingheartdesigns.etsy.com, it'll come up. It's all like Norwegian, Scandinavian, Viking stuff. I've got a lot of stuff on there and I think it's pretty cool, but you be the judge if you want to check that out. Anyway, so I'm spending a lot of time working on that on the laptop here and just trying to kill time because I'm so freaking bored. I'm used to being out when I'm on the road working 10, 11 hours a day. Sometimes longer than that. In the summer, it can be 12 or 13. So I'm just trying to kill time. But I was thinking today about habits, both good habits and bad habits. And what causes habits? Obviously, it's a repetitive thing. I've heard that both a bad habit and a good habit are hard to break once you set a habit. So for instance, if you start working out every day for a half hour, for several weeks, and then you get up one day and you don't work out, you're going to notice, you're going to feel like something's missing. And same with a bad habit. I almost think bad habits are harder to break than good habits, but that's just been my experience. You know, I'm a very flawed human being. I think most people are, and if you say you're not, well, I don't know. Good for you, I guess. Cheers. I'm not a big wine drinker, but I'm having a little bit of wine tonight. So yeah, habits and what causes them, how do we get over them? I've had certain habits that I've worked on for literally decades. I have been famous for one of my negative qualities has been my tone, which it's weird for me because I'm such a positive, upbeat, happy guy most of the time. So to be told, hey, sometimes your tone comes across mean, which frankly, 98% of the time, that's not how it's meant, even if it happened like that. I don't know if I can have that showing on the screen or not. So it's been a struggle for me, and it's something I've worked on for many, many, many years. I have somebody who's really close to me that has facial expressions sometimes that does not portray the way they are feeling. It comes across as pissed off, mean, angry, and most of the time that's not what it is. And for me, my tone, you know, it could just be something pretty simple like, man, the kitchen's a mess, or to my kids, why didn't you clean your bedroom? And it comes across harsher than I mean it to be. And it is literally something I have worked on for a long time, and I have come a long way. I am nowhere near perfect. I still do it. It's definitely one of those flaws I'm aware of. You know, we all have habits. I think all of us have habits that we don't even know we're doing. In my relationships over the years, I try to always have open, honest relationships with my wife, with my kids, with my parents, my siblings, my friends. I don't like hiding stuff. I don't like burying stuff. It might be a guy thing too, and I don't mean that prejudicially against women. I've known hundreds of women in my life, hundreds of guys in my life, and on average, they approach things differently. I remember back in college, if I had a problem with a roommate, I would go talk to them. I had a friend of mine, really good friend of mine, call me, I don't know, it might have been a year ago, and said, "Are we okay? Is everything cool?" And I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And he said, "Well, I feel like maybe there's a problem." And I'm like, "Dude, if there's a problem, I will tell you. I am straightforward. I will tell you. And if you have a problem with me, tell me. And if it's something I can fix or it's my fault, I'll try and fix it." So like with the tone thing, I try really hard. Maybe it's part of the reason I started YouTube and TikTok and all this stuff is I get to see myself talking on screen and hearing how I come across, how I talk. And most of the time I feel like it comes across nice and happy and pleasant, but obviously there are times it doesn't. So that's obviously a habit that was built from childhood. I grew up in that little town in Canada where, my friends and I, we talked to each other a certain way. And there's a definite tone there, but it wasn't meant to be mean-spirited. But to somebody who doesn't know us, it can definitely come across that way. And I know it did with my ex-wife. It was one of the big wedges in our relationship. I mean, there was definitely things she did that I didn't like, and there were things I did that she didn't like, and that was one of them. It takes two to tango. So that is one that I've worked on for a long, long time, and I try to notice. And one of the, I'm doing this off the top of my head. That's how I do all my videos. Some people, I think it drives nuts. Some like more the just, hey, I feel like I'm talking to a friend here. When I picture what's on the other side of this camera, I picture somebody watching who's a friend. Now, not everybody is. I do get some mean comments here and there, and that's cool. It doesn't bother me. If you got to get it off your chest and it makes you feel better, I don't get that, but have at it. I love seeing the good comments. I love seeing the fair criticism or suggestions. So that's how I speak when I do these videos. This is me. This is not some pretend version of me. This is not a YouTube version of me. There is no other version of me. This is me. This is how I talk. This is how I am. So I would love to hear any kind of feedback. By the way, if you're digging the videos, I would love a subscription, a thumbs up, a comment. The comments are the coolest. I love getting feedback and just, like I say, this is kind of a video diary for me. And I've really tried to pick it up in the last, 6 months or so. I started a TikTok channel as well. I think it's Norwegian Arnold on TikTok. If you're interested in checking that out. I swore I would never go on there, but I had a whole bunch of friends tell me, hey, you should go on TikTok too. So I did. YouTube's still kind of my main thing. I just feel more comfortable here. But yeah, there are things that are intuitive and things that are counterintuitive. And when it comes to habits, there are some habits like I have. I'm not going to talk about all my bad habits. Suffice it to say, I have some bad habits. Like I said, I think everybody does. Some of them are definitely counterintuitive to me. Well, you know what? I'll give a for instance here. This is one of my bad habits, I guess. I like to play poker. I play poker a lot when I'm on the road because I'm by myself, I'm bored, and I get social interaction that way, and I'm a decent player. I enjoy playing. I feel like I know what I'm doing. I feel like I have some control. I'm not big on like going and playing blackjack or slots or stuff like that. I don't like playing stuff where I feel like I have no control. But every once in a while, if I'm having a bad night, it's like my brain shuts off and things don't work right. And I mean, there's a reason they give you chips instead of dollars when you're playing at those tables, because they don't feel like real money. It's the same thing as a credit card. Credit cards can be a really bad habit. I'll get back to that. But if I'm having a good night and I'm playing good, it feels like my brain's tuned in and I'm making the right decisions. This is kind of cool how this thing moves with me. And I just feel like I'm doing it right. But once in a while, I have a bad night. Everybody does. If you play poker enough, you're going to have bad nights. And when I have the bad nights, sometimes it feels like my brain turns off and I become a jackass as far as being smart. I like to consider myself a fairly intelligent guy. And then sometimes I'm like, good Lord, you're a dumbass. Why did you do that? Why didn't you leave when you lost blah, blah, blah? And credit cards are a very similar thing. When I was 20 years old, I remember I got my first credit card. This would have been 1984, I guess. And it was like $1,000 limit in 84. So, 40 plus years ago. It'd be like getting a, $3,000, $4,000 limit card now. And I took my girlfriend out to dinner. And I had like $120 in my wallet. And the meal was whatever it was, $25. What did I do? I paid with the credit card. Just stupid. I don't know. I felt cool. That became a habit. I always swore I would never max that thing out. Within a few months, it was maxed out. I was back in the States at college, making, I don't know, a couple $100 a month. Just enough to eat. I paid all my tuition, housing, all that stuff. And then I just had enough to eat and maybe a few bucks a week for entertainment. But then all of a sudden I had like a $45 credit card payment, which seems like nothing now, but when you're a broke college student, it's a lot. And those stupid things stuck with me for so many years. I told all my kids, stay away from a credit card. Think of it as a habit. Now, some people can handle it. My parents have had a credit card their whole lives. They never carry a balance. They pay it off every month. My wife's dad, before he passed away, he used a credit card all the time, paid it off every month. But it's like any other habit. You get in the habit of paying it off, or you get in the habit of not paying it off. And when you don't pay it off, it builds and it builds and it builds. Kind of like our freaking national debt right now. I was talking to my wife about this the other night, about how we're $36 trillion in debt. It's like having a credit card with $1,000 balance, and then a $5,000, and then a $10,000, and then $20,000. You're like, well, the minimum payment's only $250. I can handle that easy. But then it's $50,000, and your payment's whatever, $700, and then it's $100,000. And pretty soon you can't make the minimum payment anymore. That's where our country's going. That's a completely different subject. I'm not going to get off on that, but bad habit that I had, credit cards for years and years and years and years. And I finally, quite a few years ago, I'm done with credit cards. I have excellent credit. I could get probably any credit card I wanted within reason. But I don't trust myself as an intelligent guy. Something there does not work right. And if somebody's got an explanation, please share it. But I won't do credit cards anymore. I just don't trust myself with it. Bad habit. I've chewed my fingernails my whole freaking life. I remember my mom, I was probably 14. She said, if you'll go a month without chewing your nails, I'll give you $5 or $10, whatever it was, in 1978, 77, 78. I did it. But that's the only time my whole life. I don't even know I'm doing it. I hate it. I look at my fingers. Sometimes they hurt. I'm like, why do you do that? Why? So I'm trying to build better and better habits. Like I sat today working on the Etsy shop for several hours. I try to make myself do stuff that's good, that's productive, a good habit. I try to build good habits. When I'm home, I'm walking a lot more now, because when I'm on the road, I'm active. When I'm home, it's easy to just sit around, not do much. So I've tried really hard to stay active when I'm home and build a habit there too. So yeah. Anyway, there's not a lot more to say about that. I gave a couple examples. Don't judge me too harshly. But yeah, anyway, I really appreciate, if you watch this far, I really appreciate it. I know there's a billion videos out there. There are just endless videos you can watch. And if you're watching this, I dig it. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of the week. Cross your fingers I can get some freaking warm weather this weekend, because I am getting tired of sitting in the hotel. But I hope everybody has a great week. I hope life is good for you. I hope good things come your way. And really appreciate it. Peace. Love.